It was a normal night, or at least I thought it was. February 25th, 2024. Just another evening spent in my room, wrapped in the soft glow of my laptop screen. I was working on a heartbreak story, ironically, when something completely unexpected happened. My phone was in my hand, buzzing occasionally with messages from friends, but my attention was mostly on my writing. My room was dark, no lights, just the pale illumination from my screen. Everything was quiet, just the faint hum of my laptop filling the silence. At around 6 p.m., I looked up from my screen for no reason at all. It was one of those strange, instinctive moments where you just feel like something is off. And that's when I saw it. A shadow. Black. Featureless. Just standing at the foot of my bed. My breath hitched. The figure wasn't just a dark mass blending into the unlit room. No, it had eyes. White, glowing, and locked directly onto me. My body froze as if an invisible weight pressed me down. My first thought was that I was seeing things, that my eyes were playing tricks on me in the dim light. But those glowing eyes, they were real. They weren't flickering like reflections, they were steady, unblinking. My heart pounded as I fumbled for my phone. With shaky hands, I turned on the flashlight and aimed it toward the figure. The second the light hit the spot where it stood, nothing. Just empty air. I sat up straighter, scanning my room. My bed was against the window, so I considered that maybe a car's headlights had caused the illusion. But no cars were passing by. No lights from houses outside. No streetlights shining through my window. I took a deep breath, shaking my head at myself. Maybe I was just too deep into my horror writing, letting my imagination run wild. So I went back to what I was doing, determined to ignore the lingering unease in my gut. Then, at 6:30 p.m., it happened again. This time, the shadow was closer. Much closer. It was right beside my laptop, near my feet at the edge of my bed. The same black mass. The same glowing white eyes staring at me. It felt more solid now, more present. I could make out a vague shape, a tall figure, but no facial features aside from those terrible eyes. My blood ran cold. My instincts screamed at me to move, to run, to do something, but all I could do was grab my phone again and flick on the flashlight. Gone. I sat there, heart hammering against my ribs, my skin prickling with fear. This wasn't my imagination. I knew I had seen something. Twice. And I wasn't the only one. Later that night, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. I left my room light on, something I hadn't done in years, and started looking up stories online, trying to find anything similar to what I had just experienced. What I found was terrifying. There were multiple reports of people seeing the same figure, a pitch-black shadow with glowing white eyes. And the worst part? Almost every story described the figure appearing in bedrooms, watching people as they lay in bed, too paralyzed with fear to move. One girl shared how she had seen two of them standing in her doorway before they vanished. Another described waking up out of breath, only to see the shadow figure standing at the foot of her bed. She closed her eyes for a moment, and when she opened them, it had moved closer. Then, there was a story about a girl who saw the shadow crouched in the corner of her room. It didn't move, didn't make a sound, it just stared. She tried to ignore it, thinking she was hallucinating. But as soon as she turned her back to it, she felt breathing on her neck. When she whipped around, it was suddenly standing right behind her. Reading these accounts sent chills down my spine. They weren't just similar, they were almost identical to what I had experienced. The same shadow. The same glowing eyes. The same paralyzing terror. I don't know what I saw that night, and honestly, I don't think I want to. But one thing is certain, I wasn't alone in that room. And if others have seen it too, then maybe it's still out there, watching, waiting for someone else to notice it in the dark.